everyone, it's Tracy. Welcome back to my channel. This is the first layout that I am making for Mini Kit Monday, and I'm not using a sketch. And what the heck am I doing? Yeah, I'm going to do some mixed media. I watched Missy Whidden this morning, and I wanted to replicate somewhat similar to what she did. It has been a long time since I've done mixed media, and I normally don't like to use it on just regular cardstock or pattern paper because it's so thin and it buckles. And yes, it does buckle, but I thought I would just give it a go and see how it turned out. It turned out okay. I'm okay with it. So these two different papers I was going to use them together. I didn't know how, but here it is. I have a couple of photos of Christina Falls, which is in Mount Rainier National Park. And it is absolutely my most favorite place in the park. It is so beautiful there. And these pictures don't even capture it. It's just so peaceful. I love that rock bridge that's there. If anybody's ever gone, you probably know what I'm talking about. So the first thing that I put down is I put down some gesso, which is that white stuff, and it kind of is like a protectant somewhat. It allows the paint or whatever mixed media you're going to use to flow freely. And I'm having a hard time getting this going. That first green color that I'm using, it is a Shimmerz, and it is called Jilted Jade, and it's not dry like some of them are. It is already wet, and it definitely has a shimmer to it. Now the blue is called Lapis Stance, and I did have to add some water to that. In fact, you can see I'm adding more and more water to it. Um, the more water you add, I can't say that it loses its intensity because it is still very intense. It's a beautiful color, and I thought that those two colors were a must. I do add another green. It's going to be a spray. It is a colorings, and it is, oh, say, can you see? And I have used the dickens out of this one. I I'm about half. I have about half a bottle, and originally. I just bought the smaller 1 ounce bottles because I did, for my money. I think it's a better value if you buy the larger bottles, but I wanted to purchase a lot. So I did. I think my first order was, oh gosh, I probably got about 15 or 20 colors. Now this right here is called Can't Elope. It's an Inklings, and I have to be careful. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you combine blue and yellow or orange, you're going to get brown. And I didn't want brown. And even though I, kind of splatter that color in the middle, you're not going to see it because the photos are going to be there. And I think I pretty much have everything done. I'm going to kind of sop up some extra liquid there in the middle. And then what I do is I get 2 large iris containers. I put a piece of paper, which is probably not the smartest thing to do because it is somewhat dry. It's not completely dry. And I put them on top, and it's still going to be warped. There's just nothing you can do about that. So just know that going in, if you use pattern paper or regular cardstock, the only ones that I have found that don't do that is the Vicki Boutin Foundations paper and watercolor paper. I have tried the Basil marshmallow paper, which is thicker, the cardstock. It still warps a little bit. For me, it does. Maybe I add too much water. So I told you in the intro that I was going to go through my bins. So this is how I store my colors, just my leftover little bits and pieces of things. Now I know a lot of people use the binder system. I have tried different ways to how to store my things, but what I have found, what works best for me is I put everything that is like left over from kits or just little pieces. I put in these containers. I want to be able to touch everything, and that includes flare, buttons, brads, everything. It can have vellum. I mean, it just, as you can see, there's a little bit of everything in there. And I pull out quite a few things. I don't use everything. I'm kind of going for a color theme here. So I'm just kind of looking through and seeing what I find that I think will go with what I'm doing. I may not use it all. In fact, I don't. But I like to have it all out just in case I do want to get it. Now, I know this may not work for everyone. It certainly works for me. I like to be able to touch all of my things. Very tactile person, and so this seems to work best for me. And that way I can have a better, handle on what is in these boxes when I go through them like this. And you can tell I don't go through each thing, you know, uh, I don't take a lot of time. I'm just kind of going through. I'm just looking for colors actually. And then when I find something that kind of goes, I do take a peek at it and I decide whether I'm going to use it or not. And that's why, I've got these, I'm just kind of throwing things here on my page. Of course, at the bottom, all the little things are down there, and that's where the treasures are. So I always want to make sure I take time to look for those. So I went through 3 of the bins. Now those bins are about they measure about 8 by 8, and I just ordered some more yesterday from Amazon. And so what I did is in the search box I put 8 by 8 storage containers with lid. I love the hinge lid that is on that. It That way I don't have to keep up with the lid. And the lid is a great way for me to put everything, as you saw, whenever I was going through it, I just threw everything in the lid and it kept everything together. And then I was able to put everything back. Now I'm going to make a cluster up here, as you can see in the top right. I'm kind of building it together. I like to have something large behind it. It's kind of like a foundation. And I'm using that kind of yellow orange square that I had pulled out. Now these are buttons. They are, God, it was something that I printed out. And to be honest with you, I don't know where I got it. Somebody on one of the Facebook groups suggested that it was something free that you could print out. And they are very realistic looking. I was very impressed, but it's just paper. So I cut one of those out. I always like to have a round element on in my clusters. I think I've got something round in all of those clusters, which is really what I like. I don't realize that I'm doing that, but it's usually my go-to. These photos really needed to be on some mats. So I just went through my stash and pulled out some white cardstock so that I could mat these photos. At first I was going to have the photos at an angle, and then I decided to go straight up and down. I'm going to work on this top one first. And I do change it up a bit, and I like the way it turned out better. I love the tree because I am in the Mount Rainier National Park. And the word bliss, oh, yes, that's exactly what the mountains are to me. I go to the mountains to find some peace and solace. I needed that. School and work has really, in COVID, has really been hard for me, and I know it is for you as well. And we all have to find what we need to go, to recover from that. So I already knew that going to the mountains was going to be the thing that I needed the most. And when things started to open up, I took that opportunity to make arrangements to go to Washington. I used to live in Washington. I lived in Olympia for about 5 years. So I already knew all of the places that I wanted to go when I was there. In fact, I've been dreaming about going back for a long time because I've been gone more than 25 years. So I always knew that I wanted to go back. And I have to say that I wanted to make sure that I stopped here at Christina Falls. It is, oh, it's so beautiful. There was snow on the ground there too. When I first get into the park, there's not any snow, but the higher you climb, the more snow it is. And yeah, and not all the roads were open. And I went towards the end of May of 21. So yeah, it was cold. Um, I didn't take a coat, but I wasn't going to go hiking either. So on this cluster, my big element is going to be this yellow heart. I don't know if the heart really shows as much as the yellow because I put so much on it. So I'm kind of layering all the different shapes there. And I like to have some sort of dimension in every cluster. I don't have anything yet on the bottom right, but I will have something here shortly. I love this butterfly. And if you add a little bit of foam behind the wings, they won't lay flat. And it's not like they well, it's just dimension. Now I am trimming off the white from, those are lemons. Of course, I'm not using it for the lemons, I'm using it for the yellow. And so I wanted to, I don't know, it just needed to have some yellow there. I felt like it did. And this is a push pin. It was from the sticker sheet from the, what is that? I'm not even sure. It's one of the sticker sheets. Oh, you guys probably know. I think it's a Jen Hatfield collection. So here are some of the flowers. I got those at Hobby Lobby, and the larger ones are kind of a green color, and the smaller ones are blue. And I like it because there's different shades of blue. And it was very fun to put that together. And that's another element of dimension. Well, I'm about done here, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to reading your comments. Yeah, leave me a message and I'll try to get back with you. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.